I want to show you how you can create a Lovable clone. Inside Xano, I'm using my database, my APIs, and my AI tools all together to create a Lovable clone. So you and your users can provide a natural prompt and then, well, build an entire site and host it. We're going to be covering our API endpoints, not only for how we render everything, but of course our business logic. And we'll be covering the Agentic flow so that it actually builds a site we can then publish. And of course, we'll cover how to publish. So this is how you build a Lovable clone inside Xano. Here on this page, this is going to be how we start the entire workflow. We're going to go ahead and provide a prompt and then build everything out in our Agentic workflows. So here we're creating a Xano.com landing page, and I'm just outlining what we're looking for. Agentic workflows, a scalable database, top-notch security, and I'll go ahead and click Create Project. We're going to navigate here to this next screen, and it's going to build. And while it does, let's go ahead and see how it actually is working. We'll start here in the database, and it's pretty lightweight. It's pretty simple. We have the component and the project tables that are going to be holding kind of the meat and bones of the entire project. The project itself, all of this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the prompt, all of that, and the component, which is going to be used as a reference. And we'll go into detail in just a sec on how this works. And then, of course, we have our log and our user table being used for authentication. Now we have our API. These are the entryways or the entry points for our application to actually work. We have our app, our authentication, and our landing page management APIs separated into these groups. The app is going to be used for rendering. So we just experienced the index and the editor. These, very simply, are going to be using a template engine that's rendering HTML, and then it's going to go ahead and return this HTML, but with this content type of text/HTML. This allows the browser to actually render what we're returning. I also have the landing page here. It's going to be modular. You don't have to build it this way, but the way that I decided to build it is going to be a little bit more on the separated side, where we have our CSS, HTML, and JavaScript, each being returned in their own endpoints. You can go ahead and use these individual endpoints and enrich them with whatever data you want, so making it a little bit more dynamic for you, the app owner. Now, that's cool. Of course, rendering's neat. How does it actually work? We have some triggers here: the create project endpoint, the edit project, and the publish project endpoint. Our create project starts everything. That's when we click that actually create project button, adds a project, and it returns this URL that we're then redirected to, and it starts a post process here with our orchestration agent. So this is the beginning of the agentic workflow we'll explore in just a sec. We have the edit project we'll see in a little bit too, and this just starts the edit agentic workflow. And then our publish project in this very big canvas we can see here, this is going to be what coordinates the actual creation of that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript into a file to then be hosted on our static hosting. So another thing that we'll explore in just a sec. Let's go ahead and take a look at our AI, because this is how it works. This is all of the magic. We'll click on our agents, and we have 4 agents, so pretty lightweight. We have 4 agents and 4 tables. Our first agent we're going to be exploring will be the orchestration agent, but we also have the code creation agent, the agent deconstruct, and the edit agent, and we'll go into detail here. The orchestration agent is where everything starts. For this project, we're using Gemini 2.5, and I have the API key within my environment variables. Our environment variables will be located within the settings and this blue manage button, where we can see these are all of the environment variables I'm using: the Gemini API key, my workspace ID, my Xano MCP URL, and my Xano bearer token, because I am also leveraging the Xano MCP server. Now, back inside our API, these are the tools that I'm using. I have code creation, deconstruct agent, get updated code, and saved prompt expansion. So some of these are going to be regular tool calls, but some are also just going to be invoking additional agents, such as the deconstruct agent, where we're going to be passing in the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And this agent, it's been designed to go ahead and break all of the big pieces into individual components. And then we save the component, and this allows us to reference it on the front end. Back in our orchestration agent, I want to go over our prompts here, because this is the most important part for the entire process, where each agent has a prompt, and each tool will have additional instructions that make it so we can build what we want. Here, our system prompt, we're letting it know that it's going to be receiving some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Its job is to go ahead and build a better prompt out of what the user is providing. Then we outline in our prompt what's next. So once this has been completed, what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and actually create the code. Once the code's been created, then we're going to go ahead and make sure that we can save it. So everything here is working in a workflow that we're dictating. So now let's go ahead and look at actually what was created. Clicking back on this link, Xano powering agentic workflows and vibe coding backends. So we have the ability to see that it created all of these things for us based off of what I provided. And as I hover over it, we have all of this, this purple outline. Now we have a purple outline here, but there's a background image. We can go ahead and say, let's change the hero. So the hero should say, welcome to Xano 2.0. So I'll go ahead and edit this project. It'll go ahead and build. Now, while it's doing this, let's just go ahead and take a look at that edit agent. I'm going to go ahead back and go to this edit agent bit, where it's going to be pretty similar actually to how the orchestration agent works, but just a little different. We're using some of the actual tools that we saw in the orchestration agent. And like I said, each tool has instructions, so the agent knows how to best use them. Now, one agent creates, the other edits. So what we can do is in our settings, go to our triggers, where I've created a trigger and I modify the tool instructions. It's pretty simple, where I get the tool JSON and I just paste it in here. Now I can actually manually modify it. So let's say the save code, use this tool once the full project's code is available, and it's going to be different than everything else that was previously executed by a different agent because this trigger lives on this agent. So a small change, but a noticeable one, so that we can go ahead and use the same tools and we don't have to rebuild any of them. Getting component, getting the updated code, saving the code, and then saving the component. So again, highly dependent on our prompts. And in our prompt here, we're going ahead and outlining the workflow. So we're letting it know what we expect. And then of course, it does it. We have UUIDs for all of these components. And you would notice that when I clicked here, and perfect, welcome to Xano 2.0. When I clicked here, you can see that some of these items or the component UUID changes. So our components are going to be the same in our actual bulk of code, as well as within the component database. We're not reconstructing necessarily. We're just using it as a reference so that our system knows what to build and how to do it. Now, this is a cool aspect. I agree. Being able to create, being able to edit, being able to actually see something like this. And well, how awesome. We did this with Xano. But what's even cooler is we can publish this so that now in terms of SEO and actual web development, we have a real endpoint where we can host our data. So we'll give it just a handful of moments. It'll go ahead and build everything in that really big workflow that I had shown. And then what we have the ability to do after it's ran everything in this really big workflow, we can go to our library, we can go to our static hosting, and then we can go to any of our static hosts. Now, something to keep in mind is that I've hard-coded the default static host value. So when a project is created, we can see here that I am assigning static host ID 3. And we also are returning the build, so we know which build we're on. If we go back to our library and go back to static hosting, we can click on our default here, and then we'll go to the build that's at the top. We can see we have a production environment and a dev environment. We'll click on the prod, and this is our website. Now, as it's publishing, I do want to go ahead and just real quick go over our canvas view, because what is this doing? And it's doing a lot. Importantly, it's going ahead and grabbing our static host and creating a build for us. It's going to go ahead and get all of the HTML, the CSS from our project ID, combine it all, create a zip file, and then using our MCP server, it's going to go ahead and actually upload our build. Now, how we set up this MPC server is going to be important. Let's say, for instance, this tool, the update static host environment. Well, we can click it open, and this is going to be an MCP call tool function. And we fill it out with our URL, and we pass a bearer token. We go ahead and pass in whatever arguments the tools have. How we set this up in Xano? You're going to navigate here back to your workspace and back to your instance, where within your particular instance, you're going to go to the gear icon on the instance card. You'll click it, and at the very bottom, you'll see the metadata API in the MCP server. Click this, and now you have the ability to create your SSE connection. For me, in this particular case, I selected the database, the front end, and logic. So now you can go ahead and grab this URL and plug it into that call function. But you do need a token, and you'll go ahead and create that just right down below. click Manage Access Token. You'll go ahead and create a new access token, give it a name, assign the scopes, and then, well, now you'll be able to use it. Just as a quick refresher, if we go back into our workspace within the settings, within the Manage Our Environment variables, I have added these. You can see that Gemini API key, my workspace ID, my Xano MCP, and my Xano bearer. Now, keep in mind, these are the two that you will need to make any calls to your Xano MCP server. I have also added a workspace ID because, well, all of the logic and everything that's happening is going to happen in one workspace, and I didn't have to want to keep typing it out, so I added it here in my environment variables. And this is Xano 2.0, the ability to do just about anything with agentic workflows, including build a Lovable clone, where you or your users can build web apps or whatever you really want with MCP integrations, with APIs, databases, everything under the sun to build a complete agentic backend. We can't wait to see what you build, and we'll include some URLs within the description so you too can participate and build a landing page and host it. We'll be taking a look for some of the coolest landing pages that we see, and we can't wait to see what you contribute. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below, and also let us know if you'd like to see us build anything else. If you need any additional assistance, go ahead and reach out to our community where builders like ourselves, as well as employees at Xano, will be on the forum to help you achieve success. And of course, within your instance, the support icon, you can talk to our live support. Can't wait to see what you build, and happy building.